In this video, I'm going to share 3 powerful techniques that you can use to stop being a prisoner of your own thoughts, break free from the inner turmoil, and start transforming your life from the inside out. But first, let's take a quick detour into space. When astronauts see the Earth from space for the first time, they often experience what is called the overview effect. By looking down at the planet from so far, they often report experiencing a deep sense of awe and a radical shift in their perspective. A lot of their problems and worries suddenly become way less significant as they view them from space. This is the power of distance, because distance creates perspective and can help you see things in your life completely differently. The ability to observe your thoughts as separate to yourself is actually a common psychological practice referred to as cognitive distancing, which is a mental habit that requires you looking at your thoughts objectively as if they were happening to someone else, rather than being emotionally attached to them yourself. The 3 techniques I'm going to share will help you create more distance between you and your thoughts so you can reduce the hold that they have over you. Technique number 1 is called labeling. Labeling simply involves identifying and naming your thoughts when they come up in your mind. By giving them a label, you acknowledge their presence so you don't let them take over. For example, if you're having a thought like, everyone at this meeting is going to find out I'm a fraud, you can label that thought as self-doubt thought or an imposter thought. The simple act of naming your thoughts creates a buffer between you and the thought itself. It's like saying, I see you, but you are not me. It also helps you recognize that this is just a thought, not a truth, and allows you to take a step back and view the situation more objectively. The goal here is not to judge or change your thoughts, but simply to notice and label them. The more you practice this, the less your thoughts will dominate your experience and the more relaxed you can be within your own mind. A bonus language trick you can use here is, instead of saying, I'm so stupid or I'm such a failure, practice saying, I'm having the thought that I'm stupid or I'm having the thought that I'm a failure. Again, this creates distance between you and your thoughts. Because remember, you are not your thoughts, you are the one observing them. Technique number 2 is called identifying facts versus stories. As humans, we are meaning-making machines. We're constantly creating stories, filling in gaps, and drawing conclusions based on limited amounts of information. We then have real emotional reactions based on these interpretations. For example, imagine that you're on your way to a meeting room and you cross paths with someone from another department. You've spoken to this person before, so you say hello and give them a huge smile. But then they completely ignore you and walk straight past you without saying anything back. Immediately you start asking yourself, did I do something wrong? Are they upset with me? You might even get angry and decide, I'm never going to speak to that person again. But whatever story you tell yourself in that moment will determine your reaction and how you feel. But your reaction will come from the stories you make about the facts, not the facts themselves. But first, let's look at what is a fact. A fact is something that's unarguable. It's objective, not attached to any meaning. A fact is something that could be observed or recorded in a video. So what is a story? A story is an interpretation of a fact. It's something that could be argued like an opinion, a judgment, or a belief. It's the way you choose to see something. So if we look at the previous example, the facts are, you walked past a person from another department, you said hello and smiled, they looked down and walked past you. Those are the facts. The stories, however, are, I did something wrong, that person doesn't like me, they were being rude. And unless you ask that person directly, you'll never know for sure if any of those stories are true. They're simply your interpretations of the facts. Most of the time, we'll genuinely believe that our stories are facts, when in fact, they're just stories. And this can create so much unnecessary drama in your life. So by becoming a pro at distinguishing between facts and stories, you can become way more objective and start holding your stories a bit more lightly. The third technique is owning your interpretations. In his book, A Man's Search for Meaning, Holocaust survivor Viktor Frankl proposes that there is a critical space between anything you experience and your reaction to it. And this space provides you with the freedom to choose your response to this experience. So while you can't control what happens to you, what you can control is how you interpret things and how you choose to respond. One of the most empowering insights that I've ever had was realizing that I was responsible for my own interpretations. I was the one choosing to see things in a certain way, even if it was unconscious. And by taking ownership of the stories I was creating, I could stop being a victim of my circumstances and start rewriting the stories in ways that actually serve me. For example, imagine that you receive some critical feedback during a performance review. You might immediately interpret this as you being a failure and you're not good enough and you'll soon get fired. However, if you take ownership of this story and realize that you're responsible for creating it, you can ask yourself, does this story serve me? And if not, you can just create another story. In this case, it might be, this feedback is actually a great opportunity for me to learn and grow, or this feedback is showing me that I need to get better at receiving critical feedback. You can be as creative as you want. As a rule of thumb, your negative experiences aren't feedback on the quality of your life, they are feedback on the quality of your thinking. And so any negative story you create is just a thought. And if that thought doesn't serve you, you can replace it with a new thought. My favorite way of doing this is by asking myself this one question. How is what I'm experiencing right now absolutely perfect? I've received a bad performance review? Perfect, because I get a chance to show my resilience. I'm being micromanaged at work? Perfect, because it's showing me how not to be as a manager. I'm feeling angry towards my colleague? Perfect, because it's letting me know that one of my boundaries has been overstepped. By practicing this on a regular basis and recognizing that you are the author of your own interpretations, you can regain your power and start rewriting narratives in ways that actually serve you. Taking ownership of your interpretations is probably one of the most empowering things you can ever do. And it's not about assigning blame or giving fault, it's simply a grace that you can give yourself that will leave you feeling empowered and with more of a say in the matter of your own life. These 3 strategies have been a game changer for me and many of my clients, so I really hope you find them useful, and I'd love to know which one of them resonated the most with you. I'll catch you in another video. Much love.